Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimale here in Abuja. The controversy over the situation in the People's Democratic Party, especially as it concerns the national secretary position of the party, continues to cause ripples and is stirring up more controversy. So today, there was a meeting in Enugu State where Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State and Governor Mba, alongside several other party leaders, met. After their meeting, they emerged from that meeting agreeing that there is going to be a position to be followed. And this position is against the position as announced by the Umaru Damagum group of the party after they met with INEC officials, where they said that Mr. Samuel Ayanwu should now should go back to his position as the National Secretary of the party. Let me allow you to listen to what they agreed after the meeting, especially what we can hear and understand from Governor Mba and Governor Seyi Makinde's statement after the meeting. Take a listen to both of the governors.
For me, I will say that, we just have to keep talking until we get to an aligned position.
The National Executive Committee of our party met and took a decision that the INEC of the party would be held on the 30th of June. And that still remains where the South is aligned. We understand that there may have been some people in the party who went and expressed a position that is outside the position of the NEC. We will not align ourselves with those people. We would align ourselves rather with the position taken by NEC to have the NEC meeting on the 30th, and that the deputy national secretary of our party would continue to act as the national secretary for now.
All right. Now, if you do not understand what this means, it means one thing. And for a lot of people, perhaps, who miss some of our programs during the week, let me remind you of what really happened. So, Umar Damagun, the acting national chairman of the party, alongside some governors, led by the chairman of the PDP's Governors Forum, the governor of Bauchi State, they met with INEC. Let me remind everyone what the INEC chairman told the party. Take a listen to him.
We received letters from the party saying that one Mr. Ude Okoye was the secretary. Thereafter, the party changed its mind and said it was Senator Anyanwu. Thereafter, the party changed its mind to say that it's Mr. Shokwedo. And again, the party changed its mind to say it's Anyanwu. And the last letter from the party actually has no secretary. It was only signed by the chairman, which we responded to. But we are here as the registrar and regulators of political parties. And we hope when we go into the working session, we will fully understand where you are coming from and what more you expect from us as the registrar and regulator of political parties. So there are issues to discuss, and we look forward to this important clarification from the party as to who is the secretary.
So all that on one hand. Now, the following day, so the party met again, and based on what they agreed at INEC when they met with the INEC chairman and the officials, this was the position of the party. Umar Damagum made the announcement, and you can see the faces of the people who were at that meeting. Take a listen to what he said.
We have decided to abide by the advice they gave us. Especially, we have a very, very important election before us. That is the FCT election. And we are running out of time. So we have no option but to abide by the decision. After due consultation and everything, we thought it's a bitter pill, but we have to swallow it. When I said critical decision, I now is resuming as the National Secretary. I think that's the most important thing. We'll have a caucus, expanded caucus, so that we'll discuss extensively the way forward to NEC. That would be on the 30th. We'll issue the notice. It will not going to be NEC, but an expanded caucus.
Now, for those who understand politics, you will know that PDP is now plunged into a large-scale mess. In Enugu today, the governor said NEC meeting will hold. Because the NEC meeting slated for the 30th of June, after they met with INEC and the realization of the fact that you cannot go into NEC without agreeing on who will be the national secretary, who will sign all of the communications between the regulator, which is INEC, the registrar of political parties, and your political party. Now, there's some governors in Enugu saying the NEC meeting will go on as planned. The Damagum and those who met after INEC meeting with officials of INEC are saying that that will just be an expanded caucus, and a date for the NEC meeting will then be agreed upon. What a mess. We'll make a sense of it for you tonight to get what exactly is going on with the party. Why should we be concerned about the PDP? You should be concerned because opposition has a strong leg in our democracy. When it's malfunctioning, then there is going to be a problem. Impunity will take over. The aggrandizement and the grandstanding of a ruling party, as often seen in politics and democracies where opposition politics is not really very grounded, will start playing out. God forbid. On one hand, we'll also be bringing my guest tonight. We'll be discussing for us the outcome of the Rivers State politics and governance issues. So earlier in the week, you saw what happened when Mr. Nyesom Wike, Governor Sim Fubara, and some leaders of Rivers State met with President Bola Tinubu, and what looked like the major crisis, almost erupting into a nuclear war between the big political players, now looks like the easiest, perhaps, some of a walk in the park kind of reconciliation. And they say they're working together. All of the sound bites that you need to know in this matter we'll bring into you. But let me introduce my guest to you tonight. He's a political analyst and a social commentator, a columnist and a writer, Mr. Mojeed Dairo. Thanks so much, Mr. Dairo, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
What a day.
What a week.
What a week it's been, actually. What a week it's been. It gets one confused. Those of us who try to put narratives and put issues out to the public and try to analyze and put things in perspective, you get so confused because these things are, I wonder and I pity our viewers because a lot of the time, the things that we can only put out, if you look at the enormous information available to us and how we try to distill and just give them what is necessary. Now, let's begin from Enugu. I think that's the place we should be.
Yes.
Are you surprised by the position of Governor Seyi Makinde? Some people say we are not surprised because Governor Seyi Makinde has made it known and clear. Governor Umba, are you surprised by his own position? Because he's not the one who speaks a lot. But they are speaking, and there are the likes of Adolfo Osborne was in that meeting in Enugu today. What do you make of it?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm surprised because Ude Okoye, the man that the Southeast Caucus are trying to, the South is trying to replace Samuel Anyanwu with, comes from Enugu State and is being supported by the governor of Enugu. And they also enjoy the support of Adolfo Osborne, who is the chairman of the BOT. But you see, what is happening in the PDP is just a symptom of an ailment, very deep-seated ailment within the party. like I've said somewhere else, the PDP is like a sick man, a very sick man that is suffering from multiple organ failure. So by the time you try to manage one part of the body, another part is falling off. So you discover that this is simply symptoms of an advanced case of multiple organ failure that might not be salvaged anytime soon. And for people like us that have predicted that the PDP might actually die for committing a mortal sin of violating zoning, this looks like the end stage of multiple organ failure for the party. So the party is in disarray. It's about a year to primary elections. Nobody is sure of who the secretary of the party is. And no right-thinking politician, no serious-minded politician will stake the ambition on such a party. Because what it has become now is that either way it goes, if Anyanwu remains, there are people that will contest his position in courts, beginning on the High Court up onto the Supreme Court again. If he's forced out, if those are trying to force him out, succeed in forcing him out, the same thing will happen. So at the end of the day, the PDP is in a very deep crisis arising from multiple organ failure. And what makes it worse is this. Ordinarily, when the BOT, the INEC, the AWs of a party are malfunctioning, and the party becomes a case of emergency in the ICU, you would expect that the caregivers in this instance will be governors of the party, who are the real powers behind the throne, who are those who are actually the real leaders of the party, those who fund the party, those who sponsor activities of the party, would have been able to come together, close ranks, and find a way out of such problems. We've seen it before, where governors come together to salvage a party that is in crisis. But in the case of the PDP, the caregivers in the ICU for a sick patient appears to be either clueless, incompetent, or rookie caregivers. So the PDP is in a crisis that is almost not redeemable. And that is not good for our democracy.
So the PDP, like you have described it, is an intensive care unit of a hospital. And I mean, it's worse that you're saying that it's not suffering from one organ failure, but multiple organ failure. So imagine heart failure, liver failure,
respiratory collapse, all.
That's what the PDP is suffering
it's gasping for breath. It's in ICU.
And does it look like there is a hope for it to come alive?
No, because those are supposed to give it care and nurture it back to life, which is the governance forum of the party. The most powerful, unofficial organ of the party, because they are the ones that fund the party, they are the ones that sponsor activities of the party. We've seen in the past the unity among governors of political parties. We've seen it in the past. In the PDP, we saw the unity among the governors between 2015 they left power, and up until 2023. We've seen the unity of the governors of the APC, for instance. They just came back from their meeting in Benin, their 3-day meeting, the Progressive Governors Forum. At least they have a way of managing their differences within, without anybody seeing such a level of cracks.
Maybe because they're in power.
Now, even when the PDP was not in power between 2015 and 2023, we also saw the PDP Governors Forum coming together to nurture the party back to reckoning by 2019, just 4 years after they lost power. But what we have now is a factionalization of the party, the PDP Governors Forum. In their rank and file is split down the middle.
Perhaps one of the very few times that you will see the PDP Governors Forum being divided. Usually they are always
very cohesive, and so they provide leadership.
Either they are fighting the BOT or they are fighting some other interests of the party, but they are always as a unit.
Exactly.
But this time around,
they are fighting themselves. So they're supposed to be the ones providing care, nurturing this party back to life. But right now they are divided, and the activities are counterproductive, and it's going to extend the death of the party.
Can that kind of party die?
Yeah, because if the party does not have candidates going to the 2027 elections, from top to bottom, it's as good as a dead party.
And that is likely to happen.
Because more people are going to decamp from the party right now into the APC, arising from this uncertainty around who is going to sign their basic communications to both the regulator and to other critical stakeholders that have business to do with elections in Nigeria.
What are you anyway as a politician if you can not run in an election?
Exactly, you cannot have a platform to run. So more the governors are likely to go, including those that are actually fighting themselves now. They'll end up muddling the waters, and they'll have no choice but to leave the party. Because we don't want to contest for second term, we don't want to contest for that position. They must have to leave the party because this party is uncertain in terms of its future.
So there are two things right here, and the Supreme Court make it clear. whenever you have a problem, go back and uphold the party's position.
Yes, the party,
the rules of the party. The rules of the party. Well, so there are those who will say what Anyanwu did and the position of the party. The position of the party, when leaders of the party are saying we want to replace Anyanwu, and by replacing Anyanwu, Ude is going to be our man. The Southeast Caucus, go and produce someone. They produce today. But the fact remains that legally speaking, it does look like Anyanwu is favored by the legality of the matter.
Because if you break it down, according to their own constitution, an elected official of the party is not bound to resign for contesting for another elected position.
They've always done it anyways.
They've always done
nothing has, so you wonder why is this different?
Yes, well, they've always done it. And so in this instance, the gentleman went to contest and then he lost and he came back to resume in his position. I would have thought that from one elected position to the other should be, seamless. Anyway. But again, it is subject to interpretation. So at a certain level of judicial intervention, he was said to have filed against the law. But the Supreme Court, it gave a ruling that appeared to have validated this position, granted his relief, because he was the one who appealed to the Supreme Court. So his relief was granted, even though it was not in plain language for laymen like us to understand, but the import of the judgment seemed to have validated his position as National Secretary. But this is politics versus the law now. He comes from his zone, the Southeast zone, and the leaders of the Southeast zone, knowing the influence of governors, are saying, okay, we want to replace him. So it's a political issue that is going to linger for a long time. So it is now the law versus politics. And ordinarily, there should be a convergence between law and politics for things to go smoothly. Otherwise, it will constitute self-injury to the PDP if stakeholders like this are still battling over the position of the National Secretary when elections are at hand and when Nigerians are looking forward to have a viable opposition that can bring up alternatives to what the current administration of Boname to the board of the APC is actually offering to Nigerians. So you see that the PDP has been a failure in the opposition much more than it was when it wasn't in power.
What do you make of the position of Governor Makinde? You heard him. You heard what Governor Mba also said today. What do you make of it? Is it a way forward? They say next meeting will hold on 30th. And they say Udo Okeye remains as far as they're concerned.
Now the question is this. Let us also look at the recent history of the relationship between the PDP and INEC, for instance. I'm aware that after the Supreme Court judgment, some other person signed the nomination of Anambra gubernatorial candidate to INEC. It was rejected until Samdadi, Senator Anyanwu, was prevailed upon to actually endorse the nominee from Anambra before the deadline. Meaning that INEC itself appears to have aligned with the secretaryship of Senator Anyanwu. The thing is, the PDP must find a middle ground. They must come together and resolve this problem. But they have a right. Those who don't want him to be there also have their political right to oppose him. After all, the national chairman of the APC has just resigned. So sometimes you can put pressure on an official of the party to say, give way for peace to reign. So I don't know how they're going to balance it on a scale of between the law and politics. Senator Anyanwu has his own supporters. You have seen some of the governors have just seen their throat to say, let us swallow the bitter pill and allow him to run out his course. After all, his tenure ends by sometime around the end of the year, so they can have a convention. But I think what is at stake here is this. For Makinde and... no, I think it's the Makinde versus Wike issue now, if you ask me. Not necessarily Mba. And I do not understand what is really the problem. Because these are former allies. They are members of the G5 who opposed Atiku's candidacy and worked for the current president to become president. So, for me, they were friends, and they appear to be foes now. And what are the issues? Probably somebody feels, maybe Makinde feels, that with Senator Anyanwu as secretary, his influence will linger beyond the expiry date of his tenure, because while he's on that seat, he's going to participate in the processes that will usher in the next NWC and the larger NEC. So, probably through him, Wike may have influence in holding on to the party. And since Wike has pledged support ahead of every other person for the re-election of the opposing APC, and I'm talking about the incumbent president, maybe they want to recover their party and reposition it to be viral and, strong enough to be able to compete in 2027. That could be a valid argument. But I think the way to go about it is to go into that arena and do that which you think Wike will do to influence the outcome of the convention with Senator Nyanwan on that seat. And also do the same thing and see whether you can actually upstage him in the party. Because it's about who gets what, when, and how. You're all politicians. You can join forces together and make sure you give him a tough run for his own money within the PDP. So essentially, outdo him in the leadership recruitment process for the next set of NWC and NEC members for the party. It's as simple as that. Because what is happening now is that the struggle over secretaryship of the party is going to suffocate the party to death and hasten his death eventually. I have thought the party will eventually die post-2027, but the way they are going about it now,
it might be faster than...
Because they may not have candidates, as simple as that.
Let me take you to Rivers matter. And with also what happened earlier in the week, where President Bola Tinubu met with the Minister of FCT and the suspended governor of Rivers State, Sim Fubara, alongside some of the leaders of the party, with the presence of the members of they are also suspended members of the House of Assembly of Rivers State. But after that meeting, this is the position of Governor Wike. They have agreed to work together.
Finally, returned to the state. Agreed to work together with the governor, and the governor also agreed to work together with all of us who are members of the same political family. Yes, just like humans, you have a disagreement, and then you also have a time to also settle your disagreement, and that has been finally concluded today, and we have come to report to Mr. President that is what we have agreed. So for me, everything is over, and enjoy everybody who believe to work with us to also work together with everybody. That there's no more acrimony, there's nothing to say we are disagreeing. We have all agreed on everything. So thank God. For me, it's a day we have to thank Almighty God.
For me, it's very important that this day has come to be. What we need for the progress of Rivers State is peace. And by the special grace of God this night, with the help of Mr. President and the agreement of the leaders of the state, including our leader, peace has returned in Rivers State. We'll do everything within our power to make sure that we sustain it this time around.
All right, the key word is this time around. Because this is not the first time who we're saying this happen. But interesting that very quickly we saw them closing ranks. And they both attended an event in Port Harcourt, in Rivers State. Look at it.
And today we are gathered. People can see behind me.
In fact, what amused me the most was the fact that not only that we saw, at some point we saw them actually going into the vehicle and got into the same vehicle and rode off from that event in the same vehicle. It was so fast that we were able to close rank. I don't know what President Bola Tinubu told them. I don't know how, because these as reconciling both men, or all the parties involved, seem to have gotten out of hands, and none of the leaders of the party, of the state, are able to reconcile them. But whatever has happened that led to this, do you think the state of emergency helped in a way?
Well, that was the game changer. So the state of emergency that was declared got Fubara to surrender and handed over victory. He considered victory.
In favor of Wike?
To Wike. It's as simple as that. So Wike has triumphed. I mean, it's a rare feat in Nigeria for godfathers to triumph over their godsons that they've restored as governor. I think the only other person who has recorded this feat would be President Tinubu himself, when he also triumphed over Ambode and some other rare cases like that. But this is a classic case of it's like a hat trick in football. For those that watch football.
Yeah.
So Wike has emerged victorious. He came out, on top, And Fubara has found his level. So that game changer was indeed the declaration of state of emergency. So you want to wonder. So he took a state of emergency to get Fubara.
Although a lot of people don't agree with the state of emergency.
No, for us, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal. And that is the only thing I take off from all of this. I wish this would have been managed in a better way that will not be seemingly infringing on the constitution of Nigeria. Because I do not think, in my widest imagination, and I do not think by any stretch of legal opinion too, that a state of emergency will entail the sacking of democratic elected structures of a state. But that is by the way. You see, I've always told everybody who cares to listen that in the struggle, in the fight between Fubara and Wike, there are no heroes and there are no victims. They both of them belong to the same political family. And when you have a fight within the political family, you must not take side between either of the two parties, because you are not there when they transacted this very business that has gone so and that they are quarreling over. I have people say that about the Rivers people, and that they want to resist Godfatherism. And I say, no, you're getting it wrong. You can't change the rules in the middle of a game. And I'm sorry to say this to Rivers people. You didn't vote for Fubara. He's not your governor.
Why did he say so?
Because resources were deployed by somebody to get him there. So for every one vote that he paid for in Rivers, means you have traded that vote. It no longer belongs to you. For every political chieftain across the board, that collected money, campaign money from Wike to install Fubara, means you have already sold your legitimacy. If you want to install a governor of your own, be ready to do what Anambra people did in 2003 and what other people did in 2023. And what was that? When the Godfather's syndrome became choking on Anambra, such that anybody in Iju couldn't pay salary for most of his tenure, Anambra people came together and rejected the party of Godfathers, which was the PDP then, and voted for an emerging party that was called ABGA, and voted for P2B in the process. P2B earned such legitimate votes that when he was even rigged out, he had credible evidence to go to court, and he claimed his mandate. And since 2003, or should I say 2005, when the mandate was violated by the court, Anambra has been in the hands of ABGA. They can vote for PDP in another position, but ABGA. And if you look at all the governors of Anambra from Peter
even Peter Obi left ABGA, went to PDP.
When he wanted to play the role of the Godfather,
PDP lost.
PDP lost. And if you look at Obiado, he seems to have just disappeared from the scene, knowing that these people have decided that we will not vote for any party that have Godfathers. So Soludo today is running his own show. In Abia, in 2023, after many years of domination of that state by Ojikalu and his proteges, the Abia people decided that we're going to vote outside of this entire system. And they voted for somebody on the party platform. They voted at Lasoti. Rivers, if you don't want what Wike is doing, it is now time to end the entire old-daily political dynasty in that state, to which both Wike and Fubara belongs. Fubara is not a victim in this. Fubara is a partner in whatever you think is wrong with your River State. So you must now develop the tenacity, the discipline, to look outside of the money bags and now look for an Omoluabi Rivers man that will be his own man and make the necessary sacrifice required to vote in the person as your governor.
This is how I wanted us to conclude the conversation. Do you think that the state of emergency, it was just in place on the 18th of March? Do you think that? Because why is it still relevant?
I'm sure they will leave for 6 months
because it's first 6 months.
I'm sure they will leave for 6 months for semblance of legality. But ordinarily, I don't think they should waste time any longer before the
president should just call it off.
Before the peace process collapses. Under delay of the state of emergency. So ordinarily, we now know that it was just political. You see, the president is himself.
But the president, and it has been said that if the president had not intervened in that, and there are arguments whether the legitimacy or not of the state of emergency, but if that did not happen, all the processes and all of the pathway for Sim Fubara to have been impeached, it would have happened in one. It would probably wouldn't be the easiest impeachment ever.
Yeah, because Fubara also went into this fight like a blind.
Would it have been better if he was impeached or he came back into office after 4 months?
For me, it is neither here nor there. For me, impeachment would have been better for our
politically speaking.
Okay, politically speaking, this is better for you. But constitutionally speaking, as a citizen, it would better if he was impeached in line with the constitution than this constitutional infraction of the crisis of emergency just to give him a soft landing.
Thank you so much. Moji Dairo is a political analyst. Thank you so much. A columnist and a writer. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
But we'll take a break, everyone. Now, I'm taking you from a lesser evil to a perhaps what could become a bigger evil. Not in the PDP, not in Rivers State, but in the APC. In the exit of Umaru Ganduje as the national chairman of the APC, the North Central is now embroiled in a controversy and agitation that they want a replacement to come from their ranks. And one of those leading the agitation is Dominic Alancha, a member of the APC from the North Central Forum. He will be joining us next on the program. Join us again. Let's now put our fingers on the issues on the politics in the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. We do know that the former governor of Kano State, Umaru Abdullahi Ganduje, who is the chairman of the APC, has resigned his position. The deputy national chairman north of the APC, Mr. Ali Bukar Daluri, has now replaced Abdullahi Ganduje as the national chairman of the party. In all of this happened when Mr. Ganduje is said to have resigned, giving urgent and important personal matters. Now, based on that resignation, which takes effect immediately, Mr. Daluri is to take charge of the party in acting capacity, and the party has been notified to summon a INEC meeting where the discussion in filling the vacancy will be held. But in all of this, there is an agitation. Don't forget how we all started. At the neck of the party, during the Buhari era, there was an election which brought the former governor of Nasarawa State as the national chairman of the party. And in that, they were the ones who midwife the primaries of the party, which saw Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the candidate of the APC. In that, as soon sometimes the former governor of Kano State was now being told to take charge as the national chairman of the party at one of the party's next meeting. Now, the North Central, from which the former national chairman, the former Nasarawa State governor comes from, are now agitating, saying they want a replacement of Mr. Ganduje from their ranks, and there are now names that are propping up as to the possible replacement of Mr. Ganduje. And we've now heard about Senator Sani Musa from Niger State, North Central region, Senator Al-Makura, a former governor of Nasarawa State, from North Central. The incumbent, SGF, is also being tipped to now lead the party, and that's Senator George Akume. His name has come up, whether that's true or not, because the presidency said the story about Akume becoming the chairman of the party is false, and that is not happening. Also, another name that has come up is Joshua Darie, a former governor of Plateau State, same in the North Central. Don't forget also that George Akume is from Benue State. All of them are from North Central. In fact, we have heard that Yaya Bello's name has also come up. But as far as we know, within the APC, these are the names that we know. Before Umar Ganduje came as the chairman of the party, there are those who have agitated about this. And one of them is Dominic Alancha, who is a member of the APC and a very strong voice within the North Central region of the party. Dominic Alancha is live for us here in our studio. Thanks so much, Mr. Alancha, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Did you see Mr. Ganduje's resignation coming?
Well, when he met, those of us from the North Central felt that the party has not been very fair to the North Central region, who have been, flipping APC since 2015 to 2023. And, like you rightly said, during the era of President Muhammadu Buhari, a convention was held, I think, in 2020 or thereabout, in 2022. and Dr. Abdullahi Adamu, the former governor of Nasarawa State, emerged. And along the line, he also resigned. And the party constitution, Article 31.5, clearly stated, what should be done should a vacancy exist. Should a vacancy exist, what the party need to do, if you read that article, is for the state, the state to, to go back to the state and then nominate somebody and send it to the INEC for ratification.
Is it the state or the region or the zone?
Yeah, it comes, the zoning formula will go to the region, then the region will sit and then spread it. North Central, had the national chairman, the deputy national secretary, and then the deputy national publicity secretary, and some other positions that were zoned, to the North Central. Nasarawa State, the national chairman was zoned to Nasarawa State, while other positions were zoned to Plateau, to Niger, Kogi, and and stuff like that. So ideally, they were supposed to return, to Nasarawa State and get his replacement. That is what our party constitution says. I have the constitution here. If you permit me, I would like to read it.
So your party was in contravention of its own
Absolutely, they were in contravention.
Imagine.
So we didn't want to go to court because we were just coming out of election, and there were a lot of crises.
It was said that it was based on the request of the president.
Yes, it was based on the request of the president, but that does not mean that, the request of the president should be at variance, with our party constitution. So because the party constitution is the grand norms, of
some
our
of
party.
you disagreed with the position at the time. You refused to challenge it in court.
We refused to challenge it in court in the interest of the party, advocating and pushing for his resignation, so that, the party will not, be engulfed with crisis. If we go to the court, I'm telling you, based on what, our party constitution stipulated, we would have booted him out of that place long before now.
But
I think his resignation, at this material time, is welcome and is at the right time for him to have left, because, the party at the national, Nigerians may think we are doing well at the national, but when you get to the grassroots, there is a lot of, grievances. People are, are having a lot of grievances. They are not too happy with the party. Most of, the defection is sounding as if, all is well. But I challenge people, those that are defecting in National Assembly, how many of them have defected in their ward? How many of them have gone back to their unit, to their constituency, to defect to the party? So his resignation at this material time, is a welcome development, and all we are asking the party to do, like they said, they are going to convene a national, a net meeting to discuss the vacancy, is to return the position to the North Central. We understand that the deputy national chairman, North, Ali Bukar Dalori, is in charge in acting capacity. We will support him to midwife a convention, because we know he has the capacity, he has the competence to do the right thing and to do the needful in order to, reinstate the confidence of the grassroots members of this great political party.
Abdullah Adamu was not the only one who resigned in 2023 July. Iyola Omishore was the national secretary.
You can see that.
Okay. Iyola Omishore was also resigned alongside, and this was said to be the request on the orders of the president. There are a lot of issues that were raised that led to the resignation of Abdullah Adamu and Senator Iyola Omishore. But the replacement of Iyola Omishore from Osun State Southwest in the national secretary, there are a lot of people who say it was perfect, because we had the same man from the same state, from the same zone, and the person of Senator Ajebola Batiru, who replaced Senator Iyola Omishore from the same area. But in the case of Abdullah Adamu from Nasarawa North Central, was replaced by Umar Abdullahi Ganduje from Kano Northwest. And so your asking now is that the president should go back to what he was supposed to have done ab initio?
Absolutely, because that is the ideal thing to do in the interest of the party, for the unity of the party, and to, for the fact that the party needs to be strengthened, at the grassroots, So the president, should convey a INEC meeting where they will look at, sustain the initial zoning formula, which zone the national chairmanship position to the North Central, Nasarawa State, or, but first let's even look at the North Central, because this thing is about our region.
You've had the names that have been placed that we put on the screen.
Yes.
And these are the top names that we're hearing.
Absolutely.
As possible replacement.
Yes.
But in truth, right, in truth, a lot of people in the party say Ganduje did not resign ordinarily. And it wasn't a push from the North Central. Or something really happened. What happened?
Well, there are a lot of rumors, but I can tell you from the North Central that we pushed for his resignation, because this is our position and we cannot fold our hand, and look at him stroll our position, because, you see, the Northwest even have not been fair to us. During the National Assembly election, all the principal offices were zoned, were taken by the Northwest. We had the Senate president, the Speaker from Northwest. We had the Deputy Senate President from Northwest. Ideally it's supposed to be spread across the region, which would have, balanced the equation, So we push for it, but there are rumors that Ganduje resigned because he's shutting the door against Kwankwaso from coming in. And Shehu, that is political malpractice, according to the president. Not to allow, you cannot open your doors to, the governors, members of National Assembly from other political party. You cannot open your doors, and receive governors of governor of Akwa Ibom and Delta, and then you shut the door against, an individual from your own very state from joining the party. And the president said it's a political malpractice.
And invariably, it means that if Kwankwaso come into the APC, there's a likelihood that the governor of Kano might follow suit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that means Kano is all undone for APC.
For APC. And Kano is very strategic, as far as 2027 is concerned, considering the
Your party lost it, but you still got about 500,000
Yeah,
votes.
we got about 500,000 votes.
And that's the reason why a lot of people say Northwest is very important for you.
Absolutely.
They produce the president.
All the regions are very important. All the regions are very important. If you look at the data, the statistics in terms of the percentage of winning in 2023, North Central was stopping second. Yeah. Even ahead of the Northwest, the Southwest, where the president comes from. So all the regions are very important. But what we are saying in this particular time, at this particular time, the party needs to be strengthened, from the grassroots level. And the North Central, members of this great party are not too happy unless and until the position of the national chairman is returned to them.
Give me a moment. Let's know officially from the party, when will this NEC meeting happens? And exactly what is the communication? Mr. Dallery, of course, is taking charge. I'm being joined by the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Mr. Felix Moka, who is speaking with us virtually from Delta State. Thank you so much, Mr. Moka, for joining us. Interesting, from last week that we spoke with you and this week, a lot has happened. I can assume that Mr. Dallery has seen strong interaction and resumed office as the acting national chairman. But what do we know in terms of the NEC meeting, which is supposed to hold to fill the vacancy?
Well, the NEC meeting of our party will be convened imminently. No date has been set for the meeting to happen. But, as you can imagine, this is an extraordinary situation where the national chairman of our party has resigned, and we will take steps immediately to fill that vacancy. But, I believe that in the coming days, we will determine the date for the NEC meeting to happen, and we will proceed to convene that meeting and have the party invoke its constitutional procedures to replace a national chairman who has just resigned.
But how soon could this happen?
Well, really soon. We're consulting. I mean, as you know, there are a lot of stakeholders that are required to be present for NEC to convene. So as we speak, that process has been triggered and consultation is ongoing. And we hope that in the coming days, we will be at a point where we can, in fact, identify a date that's agreeable to all of those who need to be there to make this meeting happen.
What about the possibility of, is the party at the moment preparing to receive Mr. Kwankwan? So as we understand that, there is imminently coming into your party.
Well, the party that I speak for has said nothing about Kwankwan's possible joining. I mean, you know, we have not made that determination, and I'm not able to speak to that at the moment. But the rest assured that should we get to that point, if that actually something that happens, you will be one of the best to know.
But in all of this, there are agitations, and I'm very sure that the party is hearing members in some parts of the country, you know, saying their concerns about the running of the party. How quickly is the party able to resolve this issue before going to NEC?
Well, I'm not sure I understand what you mean by issues regarding the running of the party. The party is running as it should run. Yes, so look, I've said this many times to you. The APC is a political party. We are, in fact, a very young party. And I think we are entitled to, you know, have our own moments where, you know, we have transitions of this kind. But I think one thing is clear, which is that we, every time it happens, we are on standby permanently to, I think, you know, rebound and, you know, correct whatever it is. Just as we have discussed, our next meeting is in the offing. We will convene that meeting. We will again, you know, have a new national chairman to continue from where Dr. Ganduje has stopped.
Can you, for the sake of transparency, and as a lawyer who understands the constitution of your party and the constitution of the country, naturally, when we imagine that the caucus of the North Central that should naturally replace to have the rightful right to the national chairmanship position of the party should have held his caucus before going to NEC. If one of the agenda of the next NEC meeting is to fill the vacancy of the national chairmanship, has all of that process begun? And what are the communications that you're getting from the president, whom we understand instructed this change?
So, you know, now for regions and their caucus, how they discuss to set on interests and priorities, you know, that is done. And I'm sure that, you know, it's an endless process. I mean, all of this time, every region has its own objectives, its own thinking and plans. You know, all of that, I think, have been unfolded. I believe that, you know, the people in North Central, I just listened to your guest who was on the show moments ago, articulating what might be his own understanding or the interest of North Central in this position. They will do that. And, you know, they are liberty to canvass their interests. But at the end of the day, when NEC convenes in its institutional capacity, all of these discussions will be put, you know, on the table. And then conversations will lead to resolutions, which ultimately lead to decisions that will be announced at NEC. So, you know, of course, I'm sure you also know, even when you ask for transparency, you know that I am not NEC and I'm not at liberty to speak for NEC, especially a NEC meeting that is yet to convene.
Can we say that the North Central has been asked to replace Mr. Ganduje? Is that what is the communication is?
So, you know, you know better than that to ask me that. You know, look, if I knew, I would tell you. I'm not aware. There's no such information to me. But that's not how it works. You know, you make it sound like it's just a linear, you know, one-way conversation. It's not. These are things that the party in its totality has to, you know, discuss and ultimately decide upon. It's not about directives, about, you know, what region gets what in this moment. You know, it's negotiated. Ultimately, those in North Central, yes, they've been agitating for quite some time. You know, they will continue to agitate, and I'm sure that they will bring their case to the table at NEC for NEC to, you know, deliberate and ultimately make, you know, an informed decision, which will, I think, resolve the matter hopefully to the, you know, acceptance of, you know, everyone in the party, or at least the majority of those in the party.
The fact that we're getting feelers that the presidency or the president was not happy with Ganduje, how is the party managing that?
Well, you know, you call it feelers. I call it speculation because the president has said nothing to nobody that I'm aware of. And so, you know, unless, I mean, the president is the president. He's at liberty to speak at any moment on any issue concerning the party or, you know, the country. To my knowledge, he has not spoken to suggest what you just said. But, you know, look, people will speculate. We're the ruling party, the largest party in Africa. So obviously, I am not surprised that there's a lot of, you know, speculation out there about, you know, what has happened and why it happened. But all that counts is that, you know, our next meeting will convene and we will discuss and resolve this matter like we've done in the past.
Felix Moka, APC National Publicity Secretary, thanks so much indeed for talking to us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Your final word tonight.
Well, like
because you are speaking for your brothers and sisters in the North Central region.
Absolutely. We'll continue to agitate, and I believe that the party will do the needful, you know, when they meet at the NEC level, you know, to rezone the position back to the North Central. And the ideal thing to do is to support the process leading to the next convention so that the zoning formula will be maintained. North Central have eminently qualified. You just, you know, read out their names. The likes of Tonko Almakura, who was a contestant in the last election. He was a former governor, and he has, you know, pioneer CPC member. You know, you need somebody with institutional memory. So I think the North Central has persons that are eminently qualified to drive, you know, the party to victory in 2027.
If this does not happen, we understand that some of you who are from the CPC bloc might be
actually
angry.
Some persons had wanted to leave the CPC, but Almakura mobilized them back to the party because this is the only party we have for now. Coalition cannot work and it cannot stand. We can't gamble our destiny.
Dominic Alancha, a member of the APC from the North Central region. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Kimale. God bless Nigeria.